I was playing through Half-Life 1 recently, and I get that I'm a little late to this game, but there was something in it that I really did not expect. I had luckily stayed relatively spoiler-free of this game for the entirety of it coming out, which is crazy because I owned the orange box, just never really got into it. I was more of a Portal person, obviously, if you've seen my last video. Speaking of which, go watch it. I think it's really good. It made me cry at the end. And while we're here, also subscribe. But the thing that caught me off guard the most was the water level of Half-Life. I really did not expect to be faced with one of my biggest fears in a game this old. I am completely terrified of video game water, and this isn't an exaggeration. I'm not like, oh, I have like a fear of the ocean and stuff like that. I don't think I'm afraid of like water. Like, I will absolutely go into water, but if you put me in the middle of the ocean and I am stranded alone, like a shipwreck, or like I fell out of a plane or something like that, and I just have to float in the vast depth of the water with having no idea what's beneath me, that's like, I'm finding a way to end my life. There's no way I possibly survive that scenario. And I think a lot of that stems from the thalassophobia that I experienced from video games as a kid. Some of the clips that you see in the intro are games that have water as a restriction to their gameplay set into the design of the game. You can't explore an endless vast ocean like Wind Waker, which I love Wind Waker. I'm not afraid of that game because I know how much you can explore it. There are games that set you up to put water all around you and have no access to it. Just like you see in the intro, Jak and Daxter, Grand Theft Auto, all these games center themselves around an island aesthetic or Miami with water everywhere, and then restrict you from ever exploring it. This kind of set up my whole childhood of not knowing what water is safe and what water isn't, and never wanting to test it. I play a lot of open world games, and I love freedom and exploration. My favorite game of all time is probably Breath of the Wild. I have a tattoo on my body of Breath of the Wild, so it better be one of my favorites. But this exploration that games let you have is something that water in early games didn't let you experience. It was a restriction. If a game wants to humble you, it usually floods the room, or drops you into the middle of a scenario where you feel powerless. I want to talk about the games that do this the best and show you why they scared the shit out of me as a kid, starting with Jak and Daxter, where it all began for me. One of my first consoles was the PS2, the first one that we had fully in our home. I had borrowed consoles or played on other people's PlayStation 1s and stuff like that, but the first console we ever got was a PlayStation 2. And we were not a wealthy family, so the breadth of games that I had for this console was very small. I got to experience Jak and Daxter mostly on a demo disc from the flea market. It wasn't until later on when I would be able to pick up Jak 2 and Jak 3 that I never even played the full Precursor Legacy because it scared the fuck out of me. That fish that swims beneath you the minute you decide to start exploring the island, the water around the island, I didn't know that was the edge of the map. I didn't know that was where you stopped and danger began. I ran around Tutorial Island, ran around collecting my Precursor orbs, ran up to the dock, and jumped in the water because I saw land on the other side. And I was like, it's pretty far away, but maybe that's what this game is. Maybe this is a water game. I don't know. This is a demo disc from a flea market that I think also had Spyro on it, which is another game that taught you that water was a limitation. Nothing ever sent you into the water besides your own curiosity And it was the first game that told me to stay in my lane and to stay out of the water. And I would learn that lesson very well, pretty much avoiding any video game after that point that had deep water mechanics. Things that have come out even since then. I haven't played Subnautica. I haven't played Sea of Thieves. I am legitimately afraid of things in those games and mechanics in those games. So this being the jumping off point has tailored my video game experience more than probably any other mechanic in gaming. Another game that I was only really allowed to experience minimally because it had bad things in it, like guns and boobs, was Grand Theft Auto. Really only allowed to play this game when parents weren't around. So playing the game that gives you the most absolute freedom of all time, it would make sense that the Miami setting with the game surrounded by water would have a character that can swim, but you can't. You can't do that. Water's everywhere. Avoid it. Don't fall into it. Don't drive into it by accident. There's not even a timer to tell you how long you have to survive or a chance to get out of the water. It's hit the water and die. It's an immediate disempowerment from the power trip that you're having in Grand Theft Auto. You can kill anyone in that game. You can do whatever you want, really. You can just run around and murder people, run on the sidewalk, drive people over. It was this big power trip that is immediately chopped short as soon as you hit the water. And this game has beautiful beaches in PS2 terms, and in the 8-month development window they had for this game, you can call them beautiful, but it had beautiful scenery, and it had the ability to give this like awe-inspiring kind of moments where you could just sit there and be on a beach and be like, wow, water is pretty cool, and then you step like 10 feet into it and just drown and die. These games set up these invisible walls as ways to contain the players, but also it felt humiliating. They stripped you completely of all of the powers, of all of the guns, the cars, everything that you had in both of these games. It stripped you completely and put you into a scenario where you were humiliated and shown how weak you really were in these games. There are two games that influenced gaming so much, but not just in the way that Super Mario 64 basically taught an entire generation how 3D movement works, and how Resident Evil is one of the most iconic survival horror games of all time, but they taught you how to be afraid. And now I know you're sitting there, what do you mean Super Mario 64 taught me how to be afraid? Super Mario 64 is bright and bouncy and isn't framed as dangerous at all. But the moment you get into the water and that music shift happens and that camera is just not working in the way you want it, it begins to make you panic anyways. I didn't experience Super Mario 64 until many years later when I would emulate it because I never owned an N64 until probably sometime in college. But even though you're safe, I'm panicking anyways. The time pressure, the being underwater, the air literally leaving Mario's lungs as you stay down there longer. The time pressure replaces the fear of the enemies, except for that fucking eel. That eel is terrifying. And I know he's not like an enemy. Like, I know he's not like coming for you. He's not gonna get you. But god damn it, he is so scary. He's scared the fuck out of me playing that game. The Super Mario 64 doesn't punish you with monsters in the water, unlike some of its side-scrolling platformers. It punishes you with a clock. You're on a timer to get those missions done and to get those stars before your life runs out. And I think it's really cool how game is able to still make you feel anxiety without the threat of a monster. But Resident Evil does use a monster. Developed by Capcom and released in 2005, it is one of the most influential horror games ever made. I played this thing on the Wii. It has been released on almost every single console since its conception, and the remake Honestly, it wasn't as good as the original. I feel like playing that shit on GameCube is really fun. Playing it on Wii is honestly really fun. Pointing with the Wiimote and shooting. Some of the mechanics don't transfer too well, but it is so influential and empowers you with combat. Water is super rare in that game, which kind of makes it worse when you get to the lake monster. Something I think the remake doesn't do as well as the original is that like void of an unclear space. There's like a threat in the water and you're not really able to see it, mostly because the resolution isn't great, but the threat is still very real. The threat being right in front of you is very different. I'm okay with a guy with a chainsaw running straight at me, but the scale of the lake monster in RE4 is something that seems insurmountable. It's like an unreal entity that makes you feel like you're powerless in that moment. Your guns don't work on it. You don't have the ability to even use them in this fight. All you have is harpoons, like your goddamn Moby Dick, fucking Ishmael running around with your harpoons. It uses that moment to move that escalation really quick. The hook getting latched into the monster and then taking you away and immediately pushing you into this fight that you weren't ready for is why it works. And the fact that water is used so sparingly in that game, and you finally come across this big body of water and you're like, okay, it's just a boat ride. I got this. You think it's like a travel to another place where you're going to fight different threats on the ground, but instead there's a really big threat coming right at you. It's used as a mechanic to disempower you in a game where you feel like such a badass. And that, specifically, is what these other games do really well. Like I said in the beginning of this video, I was just playing Half-Life for the first time. Developed by Valve and released in 1998, it completely changed how immersion and storytelling worked in first-person games. I love Valve, as you can tell from my last video, and the fact that I didn't experience this game is probably something that I'm going to have to talk about in the future. I'm probably going to make another video on that. But I want to talk about the water in Half-Life. Half-Life as a whole defined this genre of shooters with its ability to make you feel like an everyday person that turned into the hero. You're not like Doom guy who immediately comes in and just knows how all these guns work and just blows everything up. You are taught throughout the game how you're going to overcome your challenges. But when it comes to the water level, you don't choose how to learn that. The scientist tells you that there's a tranquilizer in there that probably won't work, but tells you to just jump in the cage and try it anyways. You might as well. And the way that my heart sank the second that the cage starts shifting and you feel it like, oh, yeah, it's going to drop me in the water. And you feel like you still have control of this situation because you're in the cage and the monster's outside of it. You have the gun that works under the water. The rest of your guns don't. I think the pistol does, but the rest of the guns don't. And you are the person that has to fight this thing one-on-one in its own environment. The enemies thrive in the water. They base their attacks off of sound, and the whole genre shifts without warning. This is around the time in Half-Life where the whole game starts to shift as less of chaos and more of a planned attack against you and Black Mesa. And to think this game came out years before Grand Theft Auto or Jak and Daxter and figured out how to put fear in water in video games that quickly, it really impresses me. And also scares the fuck out of me. You can see in the clips back here, I'm racing to this ladder. I'm legitimately scared playing this game because just like the general anxiety of the water monsters and the submechanophobia type setting that it's in with these large industrial pipes, it scared the shit out of me. It was really the crux for me to come up with this whole video late at night playing this game, just scaring myself. And you might be aware of Thalassophobia, which is the fear of the open ocean and deep water and all that. But submechanophobia is a different thing. It's the fear of submerged man-made objects, so things that we made put into the water that have just gone derelict and rusted. So in Half-Life's case, you have the pipes, the ladders, the flooded corridors, the deep, dark water of Black Mesa, and just generally industrial spaces with water built around them. The majority of the fear, especially when it comes from Half-Life, was that this was built for people and now it isn't. There's this fucking fish thing in there that even the scientists are terrified of. And it's not necessarily the water, like I have to keep repeating. I'm fine with going in the ocean. I'm fine with going in pools. I'm generally not afraid of water. It's what's still down there and what I don't want to find, which leads us perfectly into our next game, Subnautica. Subnautica, developed in 2018 by Unknown Worlds, is essentially a survival game built entirely around being stranded in an alien ocean. I honestly have not played this game. I'll be completely real with you. I know it's an amazing game, but I cannot and will not play it. I love these survival type games. They're my exact genre that I love to play for hours on end. But there's something about Subnautica that there's no way that I'm paying money just to be anxious the entire time. If I want to do that, I'll play free-to-play shooters like we talked about in my last video. Just even seeing some of the things that are in this game and the way that you have to traverse this land, it makes me immediately just cringe, and I just can't think about playing this game. And it's not even something like I've picked up and given it a try. It scared me into never even trying in the first place. If you have experiences with this game and have had the Thalassophobia fears and then played this game, let me know in the comments. Please tell me how that went for you. Because I sadly will never probably experience this game. Another game that I will probably never experience is Sea of Thieves. Developed by Rare and released in 2018, it's a multiplayer game where the ocean isn't just like a level or like a stage set. It's the entire game. And don't get me wrong, I loved Black Flag Assassin's Creed. I didn't really go in the water, I stayed on the boat. And I think that's what would be my job if I played Sea of Thieves. I would be just the navigator probably the entire time. The storms, the ability to just get lost in the middle of the ocean, be marooned without your ship, just, I can't do it. It's so bad. I refuse to commit to ocean-based stress in video games. It's just like the constant presence of the water just taints the entire game for me. It really asks you to trust the ocean and the crew that you're with, and I just fundamentally don't when I start this game, which is a shame because these are some amazing games that I'll probably never really experience, and I don't know how okay with that I am. I think I might need to do like some streams or something where I play these games so I can really show you how much I actually do not enjoy these experiences, and you can see how stressed I am. I'll put a heart rate monitor on and everything, and you can see just how awful this is for me. Water in video games, at the concept of a game designer, it really breaks the power fantasy contract that video games set up for you. You're supposed to be the one in charge. You're the badass that gets all the loot, gets all the like gear, and is ready to take on this fight. Whenever there's a boss fight, they try and gear you up as much as you can. The ability to expand what your character can do is what is the quintessential part of video games. But whenever there's water involved, they immediately remove that illusion of you being in control. It removes your speed. It removes your vision, your orientation, your power as the player. It completely contrasts the full rule that they set for video games as they're being made, which I think disempowerment as a whole can be good in video games. There are so many examples of this where they strip you of your gear, they take your powers away for a little bit, they mortally wound you so you can't be the character that you've been this whole time, or they give you tuberculosis. Why did they give him tuberculosis? He didn't deserve it. But when it comes to water, there's something about it that just completely takes me out and makes me unable to even be at a loss of that power. And this isn't just the vast void that I'm talking about. Put me in space, fine. Put me in space, I don't care. There's something calming about space. The vast emptiness of it, the way you're able to traverse, that's okay. But when I don't know what's coming, when I can't see what's happening, I'm done. I'm counted out. My fear of water isn't what most people's is, where it comes from drowning. They think, oh, I'm going to die. Mine is just the helplessness of it all. Not being able to even know what's going to happen next. It's a bit of a power thing. Games taught me this very early. They teach you that there is a restriction and that your power will be gone if you push that border. It was always a tool for these developers to keep you in line or to just scare the shit out of you. Like I just said, put me in space and I'm perfectly fine. Put me in murky water with some pipes and a shadow shimmering through the water and just not knowing what's going to happen next, and you can just fuck right off. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. This is a topic that I've been waiting to talk about for a while. It's always been in the back of my head, and I hope it came across as a legitimate fear and not just me complaining about water levels. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe, like, comment, do the whole thing. I appreciate you guys so much. The growth on this channel has been so cool to see, and we're just going up. I'm just going to keep making stuff. I'm just going to keep talking about stuff that I want to talk about, and hopefully you guys show up, because that's really all I want. If you haven't watched my last videos, go watch them. They're not performing as well as the Fallout one, because I knew that would happen. The Fallout one is like, you know, you put Fallout in a title and everyone just shows up. But these ones are my real passion, so go watch them. I really like them. Thanks for watching again, guys.